Hi everyone, it's Mark Curtis here from Copeland Physiotherapy and Sports Injury Clinic in Chester City Centre. The Chester Marathon, Half Marathon, 10K guys have asked me to do a little talk on injuries and running, and specifically, is it an injury or is it just a niggle? And that's the thing really, that if you're doing marathon training, half marathon training, and you're increasing that distance, you're increasing your speed, you're trying to do more hills, and then the demand of your training schedule is getting more and more throughout the weeks, you're going to get some achy legs, you're going to get some soreness, okay? And that's perfectly normal because you're stressing the body quite a lot, more and more demand every single week, and that's going to take an effect on the leg. So normal achy legs after a run, low level, that's quite normal. But what I'm talking about today really is when do those kind of symptoms start to get more severe and more worrying signs that you should be looking at really, that could indicate that you've got a more serious injury that you should get checked out. Okay, so really the first point is, if you're in doubt, you really should get it checked out by a medical professional. Have it assessed professionally, have it treated, so you can really work through the injury with your training plan and hopefully get you to the start line in as good a condition as you can, okay? And that's the other thing. If you're just getting the odd niggle now and again, that's perfectly normal. But if you're getting a recurrent niggle that keeps on coming back again, it's low level and you're happy-ish about it, but you should, if it's recurring, get that checked out as well, okay? So the first real warning sign that there's more serious injury, pretty obvious really, is the level of pain that you're getting. So with this nice easy diagram such as this, what you're looking for really is that green zone, that 0 out of 10 to 2 out of 10, very mild discomfort, is perfectly acceptable. You can still run through that and train that with quite a lot of safety. When you're getting into that yellow zone, the acceptable, if your pain's getting up to about a 5 out of 10, that's still okay to run through usually, okay? As long as things settle reasonably quickly, that's not too bad. It's when you're getting up into that red zone, that high risk zone, that you want to be more worried if you're getting severe pain, okay? But that's the other point then, is recovery. How quickly after you get some soreness or some pain does it settle? So if after you've finished your run, the pain goes away pretty quickly, immediately, or even within 24 hours, that indicates a more low-level problem and nothing really to worry about. But if your pain is persisting and it's going on for longer than 48 hours plus, then really there might be something going on that you want to get checked out, okay? That also can indicate a more significant injury, that maybe that you don't get pain immediately as you're doing your run, but you always get it 48 hours or so afterwards. That can indicate more soft tissue injuries such as tendinopathy sometimes. So again, that might be something that you want to get checked out, okay? If your pain and your niggle just keeps on getting worse and worse and worse, then obviously you need to get that checked out. If it's only a low-level discomfort that's occasional, that's fine, okay? The other thing is, can you change the pain at all? So if when you're running at your normal kind of race pace and things that you're getting pain, but if you can slow down, it's more comfortable, or if you can increase your cadence and that makes it more comfortable, or change the surface that you're running on. So try running on grass rather than concrete, and that's better, so there's less impact forces. Or if you can give the area that's sore a little bit of support, so sports tape or a compression bandage or something, and that makes it more comfortable, then usually those are indications that it's nothing too serious and something that you could continue with really, okay? The other thing is any other signs of serious injury other than pain. So if you're getting swelling in an area, that's not a great sign, so it could be something more serious. If you're getting any specific restriction in movement, so if it's soreness around the knee, but it's restricted your movement, not just a feeling of, oh, it feels a bit stiff, but an actual, you can't bend or straighten the leg as much as you would do normally, or if there's any signs of instability in the joint, so locking or giving way, that's a more warning signs, okay? If you've got any kind of neurological symptoms, any pins and needles, numbness, that's something that you want to get checked out. Or any bony tenderness, so if there's actually tenderness on the bony areas to touch, that's another indication. Lack of ability to weight bear through the leg, so if after a run the morning after you can't put your foot down on the floor and you're limping, that's another indication that there's a more serious injury. Or if you're getting referred pain, so you're getting some soreness in the leg, but then that's coming all the way down the leg as well. It's not just in specific areas, it's referring. That gives an indication that something more severe is going on. Okay, so that's the thing. If you're ever in doubt, I would say get it checked out by a medical professional. Okay, if your symptoms are gradually getting worse and worse, and you're doing things to try and modify, and it's not improving, that's something to get checked out as well. Or if you've got any of those more serious signs with the inflammation, with the pins and needles, the joint locking, any of those kind of things, then again I would suggest that you get it looked at. So if you do have a niggle, if you have some soreness after your run, but you don't think it's an actual serious injury, what can you do to make your recovery a little bit better? Because we are all going to get soreness after the run, muscle soreness and a feeling of tightness in the legs, and you want to try and reduce that as much as possible, so you can keep up with your training plan. If you're running 3-4 times a week, you need to be in as good a condition and recovery as quickly as possible so you can keep up with your training plan. So there's a few things that you can do that will reduce the amount of niggles and kind of muscle soreness that you get. And the first is making sure that you have a good cool down. Don't just get in from your run, feel exhausted and just collapse onto the sofa, because that will make you stiffen up. You want to make sure that you have a good cool down to calm the kind of heart rate down, nice and slowly, rather than just stopping immediately after your run. So once you've had a bit of a cool down for 5 minutes or so, then getting into a few stretches as well. So stretch out the main muscle groups of the calf, the quads, the hamstring, the glutes, and spend a good really minute on each muscle group if you can, to reduce the soreness in the muscles and stretch them out to get a bit more flexibility. That does definitely aid recovery. The other thing that can really help is doing massage as well. So a lot of the achiness that you get is a build-up of lactic acid in the muscles. So making sure that you do some massage to reduce that muscle soreness and remove the lactic acid can really help with improving things. Okay. Make sure that you're hydrated as well. Obviously, when you're running, you're sweating a lot, you're going to get dehydrated, and dehydration can definitely increase those sensations of muscle soreness and increase your likelihood of serious injury as well. So make sure that you hydrate well, especially on your longer runs whilst you're running, but make sure afterwards that you're hydrating a lot and keep those water levels up as much as you can. But also refuel. When we're going for our longer runs, you're going to deplete the muscle of its energy stores, its glycogen. Okay, so you need to make sure that you replenish that enough to make sure that your recovery from the run is as good as possible. So making sure that you really have a recovery fueling eating session about 30 to 60 minutes after your run if you can. And make sure that it includes plenty of carbohydrates for energy, and then also proteins as well. And apparently it's about a 4-to-1 ratio, carbohydrates to protein, if you have a meal or snack after you run, to try and replenish those stores in the muscles. Okay. The other thing that you can do, and has been proven with some research, is ice baths as well. So that can reduce that muscle soreness. An ice bath can really help to reduce inflammation, so it can reduce the metabolic activity in the muscles. It can help to restrict blood flow in the area and reduce inflammation, so that can help to improve your recovery, definitely. Okay, so those are a few things that you can do to try and improve things. The other thing is trying to reduce the risk of injury and niggles. The soreness that you get in your legs is the muscles kind of saying, I've worked really hard here. And I've talked to videos on this before about the real importance of strength and conditioning with running, because when you're running and you're going through your training week on week, your cardiovascular system improves really quickly, but the muscles are a lot slower in improving, and you don't actually improve the strength of the muscle or the performance of the muscle very much when you're doing the running. You need to do strength and conditioning, so squats and lunges and calf raises and steps, to try and improve the muscle conditioning so you can run faster and you've got better power, and your muscles will be able to tolerate the level of activity that you're putting through it. Okay, so really with injury versus niggles, there's all those kind of warning signs that I just talked about, but niggles are perfectly normal. But as long as they are low level and they settle pretty quickly within 24 hours or so, then you're okay to keep training. My general rule of thumb is you should have recovered enough, especially after one of your long runs, that you're comfortable again before you try and train hard again. So if you've done a hard session and you're quite sore afterwards, and then you try and train again, if you keep going through that cycle of it never quite settles, it's just going to build and build and build and potentially become more of a problem. So rest and recovery is really important. Make sure you give enough time in between your training runs to recover. Make sure you get plenty of good sleep as well, because that will help, and you should be okay. If you do run into any troubles at all, if those niggles do keep building and building and building and getting worse, or if you have a more serious or immediate onset of a problem, do give us a call at Katie Copeland Physiotherapy and Sports Injury Clinic here in Chester, and I'm sure we can help you out and make sure that you get to the start line in as good a condition as possible. Okay. Good luck with everybody's training. I hope all of your niggles do settle quickly and nothing develops into more serious injury, and good luck with the training. Take care. Thanks very much.